Hello, dear friend. I'm Owen Thorne, and I'm so pleased you've decided to spend this quiet moment with me. Tonight, I'd like to guide you into a place of soft relaxation and peace, where your mind can rest gently and your body can feel cradled by calm. In just a little while, you'll hear a soothing story about a curious fox who found comfort in an old cottage garden. But first, let's pause together, simply being here in this moment. Settle yourself now in a cozy spot, somewhere safe and warm. Allow your shoulders to drop as you release the day's tension. Notice the gentle rise and fall of your chest as you breathe in through your nose. Then let the air drift out again. Feel the weight of your body supported by whatever is beneath you, and give yourself permission to sink a little deeper into that support. If there are any cares lingering at the edges of your mind, imagine them melting away with each slow exhale. Perhaps you can sense the hush of evening settling around you, like a soft blanket drawn across your surroundings. There is no hurry and nowhere else to be. Let your breathing remain slow and steady, each inhale and exhale carrying you further into calm. In the distance of your mind, you can almost see a tranquil cottage nestled under a broad, starlit sky. Tonight, we will journey there to a quiet garden where a gentle fox makes its home in the hush of night. A lone cottage sat at the end of a winding path, far from the bustle of town life. Its walls were made of sturdy, time-worn stone that bore the marks of many seasons, and its roof was covered in thick, weathered shingles that had seen countless rains and shining dawns. Over the years, ivy had gently claimed the cottage's walls, weaving emerald tendrils across the old stone, adding a layer of softness to the solid exterior. Beyond the cottage door stretched a little garden, enclosed by a weathered wooden fence. Hollyhocks and lavender swayed together, sending out a sweet perfume that wove through the evening air. In this cozy dwelling lived a kind-hearted soul named Evelyn, whose days unfolded in a gentle routine. Each morning she rose with a soft, pearly light that crept over the horizon. She would open her windows to welcome in a breeze kissed by dew. The wind carried with it the fragrance of wet grass and just bloomed roses, a promise of new beginnings. Evelyn's companion, a small grey cat with bright eyes, would join her as she wandered out to the garden. They moved slowly, greeting the day with calm, noticing the subtle changes in the leaves and the blossoms. Some days she found new buds unfolding. Other days she spotted a fallen petal or a newly sprouted weed. Everything had its own place and pace in this peaceful corner of the world. The cottage garden itself was a tapestry of colour. Lavender spikes, alive with bees and butterflies, formed a serene purple blanket near the fence. Farther in, clusters of daisies and marigolds brightened the scene with their cheerful faces. In one corner, a small stone bird bath shimmered in the sun, reflecting wisps of cloud in its shallow pool. The sound of trickling water from an old fountain offered a gentle lullaby. Evelyn had placed a wooden bench nearby, a perfect spot to sit and watch the world go by. Quiet and unhurried, this was a place where days seemed to stretch out, uncluttered by the rush of time. In the early evening, as the sky transformed into a painting of pastel pinks and dusky blues, Evelyn would pause in her garden to gather small bouquets of fresh flowers. She kept some for her kitchen table and bundled the rest for neighbours who ventured down the lane. Often her cat wound around her ankles, purring softly. A hush would settle over the day, and the last golden rays of sunlight danced across the petals, as if they were offering a final bow before nightfall. One twilight hour, Evelyn noticed a new visitor, a slender, russet fox just beyond the fence. It stood there, nose quivering, ears perked, watching the gentle scene unfold. Its bright eyes reflected curiosity, but also caution. Perhaps it was drawn by the pleasant aroma of rosemary and thyme that grew in neat rows along the cottage wall. Or maybe it had wandered close in hope of a safe place to rest. Regardless of its reason, the fox lingered beneath the shadows of the overhanging branches, hardly daring to step farther. The next evening, the fox appeared again. This time, it ventured a single paw inside the garden gate, left slightly ajar. Startled by the meow of Evelyn's cat, it scurried back, pausing on the boundary. Yet something about the warmth in that garden made the fox return night after night. It would wait quietly, hidden among moonlit blossoms, breathing in the sweet fragrance of flowers and listening to the gentle clink of a watering can or the distant hum of bees settling in their hives. As Evelyn became aware of her little visitor, she laid out small offerings, scraps of meat or a few bits of fruit, just beyond the gate. She made certain these were placed discreetly, not too close to the cottage, so the fox might feel safe while it investigated. Each evening, she would watch, from a respectful distance, as the fox skulked around to sniff the gifts. The fox ate quickly, ears swiveled to catch any sound that might signal danger. Then, as quietly as it had come, it would slip away into the darkness, melting into the silhouettes of tall grass and gently swaying trees. Over time, it grew bolder. One mild summer's night, beneath a velvet sky sprinkled with shimmering stars, the fox found its way deeper into the garden. It walked slowly among the flowers, its dainty paws trotting gently over soft dirt paths. There was no rush in its movements. A sense of calm seemed to blanket the little creature as it tested this new territory. Flowers swayed and parted for its slender shape, releasing waves of sweet fragrance into the air. The moonlight softened every edge, turning the fox's coat into a tapestry of silver and amber. A night breeze stirred the leaves, and a gentle, lulling hush accompanied the rustle of branches. The fox paused near Evelyn's wooden bench, drawn by the scent of fresh hay that she had placed by the garden's corner for mulch. The soft mound smelled sweet and earthy, a perfect bed for a weary traveller. Approaching with care, the fox circled the hay, sniffed tentatively, and settled in for a moment, ears swivelling at each night sound. Then, with a delicate sigh, the fox stretched out, and let its body grow heavy against the warm, rustling straw. In the stillness of that moment, the fox felt safe. The stars spun overhead, and the moon held watch over the hushed garden. Somehow, the fox sensed that this cottage, these flowers, and that gentle caretaker posed no threat. It allowed its eyes to close, lulled by the quiet symphony of the night. A gentle chorus of crickets, a distant owl's soft call, and the gentle pulse of the wind in the shrubs. For the first time in many moons, the fox drifted into a peaceful slumber beneath the watchful glow of the cottage windows. A few nights later, when the fox returned, Evelyn's cat made a cautious approach. At first, they eyed each other with careful curiosity. The cat inched closer, tail swaying gracefully, ears pricked forward. The fox lowered its head in a show of gentle respect. Neither animal wanted to disrupt this shared peace, so they moved in delicate arcs until they were nearly nose to nose. Then, satisfied with the other's mild intentions, each turned its gaze elsewhere and settled into a soft companionship, side by side under the starry canopy. Evelyn, watching from her window, felt a warm sense of contentment bloom within her. The calm presence of these animals reminded her of the interwoven bond all living creatures share. Each night, she noticed the fox's visits became more frequent, and she began to find soft impressions of paw prints in the loosened soil. Little by little, the fox claimed a corner of the garden as its own. There, in the shelter of lavender and lilac bushes, it would curl up for a peaceful nap, undisturbed by the passing hours. During the daylight hours, the garden welcomed a soft brightness. The sun spread golden beams across the cottage roof, coaxing flowers into full bloom. Hummingbirds darted in and out of the honeysuckle vines, their tiny wings thrumming in the warm light. Butterflies, dusted in sunrise hues, danced across blossoms. Though the fox rarely lingered past dawn, its presence lingered in the subtle hush of early morning. Evelyn might discover a tuft of russet fur caught on a low branch, or faint footprints in the dew-soaked grass. On rare occasions, when the dawn was quiet and the cottage was drowsy with the fading night, the fox would remain just a bit longer. It would sit in a patch of sunlight near the fence, eyes half closed, letting the warming rays soak into its fur. The cat, perched on the porch railing, observed with a relaxed gaze. There seemed to be an unspoken agreement among them all, a gentle acceptance that every living being deserves a peaceful spot to rest, be it day or night. As the weeks passed, Evelyn took delight in sewing small cushions out of sturdy fabric. She placed one cushion in the garden's corner, hoping the fox might find it more comfortable than the loose hay. In another spot, she laid a shallow dish of water, replaced daily with fresh, cool liquid. Though the fox remained cautious of any sudden movements or unfamiliar scents, it found these gestures too comforting to resist. Soon, it grew used to napping on the cushion, its bushy tail curled neatly over its nose. At dusk, when twilight softened the edges of the world, Evelyn would sometimes sit on her wooden bench, reading a worn book of poems, or simply gazing up at the stars. From the corner of her eye, she watched the fox slip silently into the garden. It moved as though guided by the evening breeze, stirring only the slightest rustle among the blooms. Occasionally, the fox and the cat would share the cool grass, resting close enough to feel each other's warmth. In that hush, the boundaries between wild and domestic blurred, replaced by gentle acceptance. Night after night, the fox's visits lengthened. It grew accustomed to Evelyn's calm presence and the comforting hush of the garden. Its ears remained alert, but the tension had melted away into ease. No longer did it flinch at the sound of a door opening or the murmur of footsteps on the garden path. The fox understood that here, in this haven of blooming flowers, trickling water, and the quiet watch of an old cottage, it could find solace. Sometimes clouds rolled in and gentle rain would fall, tapping softly against the roof and collecting in the folds of leaves. On these nights, the fox discovered that the overhang of the cottage porch offered a dry shelter from the drizzle. Curled beneath the eaves, it listened to the patter of raindrops, lulled by the rhythmic sound that resonated through the wooden boards. Raindrops glistened like silver beads on the nearby roses, and every so often a drop would fall into a puddle, creating a small ripple that winked under the glow of the porch light. On especially chilly nights, the fox pressed closer to the cottage's foundation, taking advantage of the warmth that crept through the stones. In a corner near the kitchen window, it found a spot where the stones held onto the day's heat, releasing it slowly into the cool darkness. The fox closed its eyes, tail wrapped snugly around its paws, and slept in a comfort that felt almost like home. And so the days rolled on in a gentle parade of seasons. When autumn came, the garden leaves turned russet and gold, mirroring the fox's coat. The crisp air smelled of apples and mulched leaves. Evelyn gathered the harvest from her small orchard, placing extra fruits near the fence for her wild visitor. The fox, thankful for these gifts, continued to offer its trust and presence in return. Winter arrived with a quiet hush. A blanket of snow draped the cottage, the garden, and the old wooden bench. Moonlight on the snow sparkled like scattered crystals. The fox's footprints wove a delicate pattern through the drifts, each step cushioned by the soft powder. Evelyn set out a small dish of scraps and warmed water, ensuring that her friend would find sustenance despite the icy nights. Sometimes she peered out the frosted window to see the fox trotting around, muzzle dusted with snow, searching playfully for morsels. Then it would settle near the porch, curling into a ball against the cold. Its bright eyes flickered in the soft lamplight. The cat watched too from inside, perched on the windowsill, gently pawing at the glass as if to greet the fox outside. When the snows melted and the land came alive with the first scents of spring, new flowers unfurled. Delicate snowdrops and bright crocuses emerged from the thawing earth. The fox, as though sensing the renewal, became bolder and friendlier. If Evelyn stood quietly by her bench at twilight, the fox would trot over, pausing just a few steps away. They shared a moment of mutual understanding, an unspoken bond that needed no words. Sometimes the cat joined, weaving between Evelyn's ankles or quietly observing from a smooth stone. It was a serene gathering, 3 beings forming a calm circle of companionship in the heart of a lush, awakening garden. Evelyn often reflected on how magical these ordinary moments were. She felt honoured that a creature of the wild had chosen her garden as a place of safety and rest. In the gentle interplay of moonlight and starlight, she watched the fox's fiery coat become a soft glow against the dark. Even in the middle of the night, if she happened to stir from slumber and glance outside, she might glimpse the fox curled in its chosen corner, chest rising and falling in a serene rhythm of sleep. On one particular evening, when a full moon illuminated every leaf and flower with silvery light, the fox surprised Evelyn by padding right up to her bench. It gazed at her with quiet curiosity, and she slowly extended a hand. The fox took a single step closer, sniffed the air, then stretched out on the grass beside her feet. There was such a gentle trust in that action, as if the fox had found in this garden not just a safe shelter, but a place of quiet love. Time passed gently in that small piece of the world. Morning still came with the chorus of birds greeting the sun, and night still draped the garden in a cloak of calm starlight. Yet something had shifted in subtle, wondrous ways. The fox had become a cherished presence, weaving itself into the daily life of the cottage. No longer just a passing visitor, the fox was part of the garden's living tapestry. Seasons continued their timeless cycle. Summer's warmth again coaxed colourful blooms, and the fox continued to slip in each evening, pausing to sniff newly blossomed flowers or chase a drifting moth. In the autumn, leaves would swirl in the breeze, and the fox would romp through them, leaving scattered footprints in the orchard. Through every shift in weather, every phase of the moon, the fox found rest in the garden's soft, inviting corners. Late one day, Evelyn was trimming away dead vines from the fence when she caught sight of the fox, dozing in the sun. The cat lounged a short distance away, tail flicking lazily. Neither seemed worried by her activity. The cottage door stood open, letting out a gentle clink of dishes and the aroma of something sweet baking in the oven. A sense of profound peace welled up, as if the garden itself breathed a contented sigh. From the tallest lilac bush to the tiny succulents in clay pots, each plant and creature existed in quiet harmony. Evelyn closed her eyes for a moment, savouring the warmth on her cheeks and the soft hush all around. When she opened them, the fox stirred, lifting its muzzle to catch the drifting scents. Its ears perked at the gentle shuffle of her feet, but its posture remained relaxed. She smiled, bending down to pick up a fallen bloom. The petals were velvety white, a symbol of pure tranquility. Night fell slowly that evening, painting the horizon in gradients of twilight rose and soft purple before darkening into a deep blue sky dusted with stars. The fox lingered again, curling up in its usual spot. The cat found its way onto Evelyn's lap while she rested on the bench, and together, under the serene watch of the moon, they all let time dissolve into the stillness of night. The only sounds were the gentle whisper of the breeze in the treetops and the distant chirping of crickets. Now and then the fox shifted, nestling deeper into its bed of fresh straw and cushion, uttering a small sigh of content. Evelyn's eyes grew heavier, lulled by the comforting presence of her two companions. The hush of the cottage garden enveloped them all, as if encouraging every creature to find its own sweet rest. In this small slice of the world, there were no concerns too heavy to melt away under the starlight. There was simply the moon, the soft breath of animals, and the sweet perfume of a garden at peace. As the night deepened, even the wind slowed to a soft, rhythmic murmur against the old wooden fence. Clouds glided across the moon, and the garden shadows grew long and sleepy. The fox lay motionless, breathing in a slow, steady pattern, tail curved protectively over its nose. The cat, equally at ease, nestled near the warmth of the cottage wall, half closing its eyes in shared tranquility. Inside the cottage, soft lamplight flickered in the windows, illuminating the gentle figure of Evelyn, tidying her belongings for the night. The last few notes of a distant lullaby, perhaps the wind through the rafters, played on the edge of hearing, soothing all who listened. It was as if each part of the garden, the flowers, the trees, the worn bench, exhaled together in a single harmonious sigh. The fox's ears twitched only once more in the hush, capturing some faint nighttime sound. Then it surrendered to a deeper, dreamier slumber. Moonbeams gently graced the silent garden, bathing every leaf and paw print in silver. With the fox at peace and the cottage settling into stillness, the night turned into a soft cocoon of restfulness. And so, in the hush of the dark, the garden and its gentle guardian drifted into quiet dreams. Petals folded in on themselves, dew began to form, and the little cat dozed contentedly. The fox, safely curled in its nook, breathed softly with the simple comfort of belonging. Everything settled into a calm that asked nothing more than to be enjoyed. Good night, dear traveller. May the serene company of this cottage garden bring you ease, and may your dreams unfold with gentle wonder. Sleep well.